Hi, I'm Jerry Eisenberg from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have the distinct honor to introduce Herand Abcarian, who is the father of American anorectal fistula surgery. Herand, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry, and I appreciate the society giving me the opportunity of being interviewed.
How did you become interested in colon and rectal surgery?
Well, my interest in colorectal surgery came from a personal bad experience, having had a simple infected pyeronidal cyst as a house officer. And I went to my chief of surgery, who operated on me, carved out 3 times more tissue than was necessary, closed the wound with horizontal 2-0 wire, and put me face down on a pillow for 7 days. Miraculously, I didn't die of pulmonary embolism. And then they took the stitches out, and of course the wound fell apart. And he looked at it and he said, "Harry, I wish you would sue me." And I said, "Now you're my chief. In the absence of that, what do I do?" He said, "Go see Herand Smith." He was the premier proctologist in Chicago. I went and saw him, and he said, "Look, we can fix this." And ultimately, he was able to get this thing to heal with a couple of more procedures. So I said, "Dr. Smith, the chief of surgery here doesn't know what to do. I'm sure there's a lot of other people who don't know what to do. Can I come and learn this from you?" He said, "Next year I'm starting a colorectal surgery residency program at County, and you can come in as a resident." And that was the beginning of my love affair with colon and rectal surgery. It's a personal experience.
It's a great story. Who are some of your mentors?
Well, Herand Smith was the big guy. Actually, he not only trained me, he was like a father figure for me. And when I finished my training, he said to me, "I'm going to retire." And I said, "When?" He said, "Tomorrow. And I want you to take over the division and run with it." So we met with the chief of surgery, and I became division chief about a month after I had finished my training, and built up the division of colon rectal surgery at County Hospital in 1972, which is now alive and well, training residents since then. So he was the main mentor. The second one who had a great influence on me was Norman Nigro. Norman was the executive director of the board, and I got involved in the board at a very young age because of being a program director. And Norman asked me to be on the examination committee, which was the important thing, writing the exam questions. And then subsequently he said that I'm going to retire and I'd like you to take over my position. I said, it's not my choice, it's the board's decision. And so when he decided to retire, the board executive director works at the pleasure of the board. And they asked me to come on as his successor, and I stayed on that position for 20 years, from '86 to 2006.
And how did you become involved in the ASCRS?
Again, I was young. I was a program director, so the program directors were brought into some issues related initially from recertification, believe it or not. And I was in that committee. Then I was put on a couple of other committees, and it was just one of those, the society was much smaller. The working bodies, the working bees were a small group, and they put me on 6 committees. And subsequently, about 10 years later, I became the secretary of the society. I had never been on the council. But Dr. Nigro was not happy, and Dr. Nigro said that he was grooming me to take his place, and I told him that if you ever decide to retire, and the board wanted me to do that, I'll resign my position. He said, "Nobody has ever done that," which I did. I resigned my position as secretary and moved on to the board. And then a couple of years later, I was picked to be the president of the society. So it's been a journey, advice to the young people. You offer something to do, do it. Don't be choosy. Don't say, "I don't like this. I'm going to hold out for another committee that I like." Just serve. That's the magic word, serve the society. That's what I did.
So you have a long and distinguished career in colon and rectal surgery. What would you say is your greatest contribution?
I felt that the greatest contribution was to be the executive director of the board. The board was essentially under threat. The college wanted us to give up our office and move into the college building. American Board of Surgery every other year offered to move us to their place in Philadelphia and in their office. And then subsequently magnanimously offered to give our board exam and issue certificates. So as a board executive director, I pointed out to them that our board preceded American Board of Surgery by some years, and I thanked them and told them that we would like to be independent, and stayed independent. And I think that was my pleasure in life. I thought my service to the board, because I served the society. I was an associate editor of the journal for 14 years. I served in the Research Foundation as a program director for 23 years. But my work on the board is what gave me the most satisfaction.
How do you think the ASCRS should evolve? What's the future for this organization?
You know, the membership of ASCRS has changed tremendously. And so it's the job of the Executive Council and the President is to make sure that the members and the fellows of the society are relevant, that for the dues that they pay and the time they take off their practice to go to meetings, etc., that there's some reward for them. And the reward could be helping them with policy, socioeconomic issues, the journal, Research Foundation to allow dollars for their research. So I think that members are looking to be more relevant. And this is the Generation X. Their needs are totally different than my generation of people.
So you're known as our official raconteur. Is there a special story from all of these years at ASCRS that you'd like to tell us?
Well, you know, it was very interesting. I went to my first meeting, and I was told to look for Harriet Gibson, who at the time was the executive secretary. I went and she said, name, I said Abcarian. And she said, Herand, right? So I knew my place. Harriet ran the show, and we all knew where things were. And Harriet was wonderful. We had great time with council meetings, etc., and board meetings, because at that time they're both in Detroit in the same office in Ford Building until the society moved to Chicago. So it's been a journey, and the joy of my life was I was a very young person. I became a program director, so I got involved with the giants like Porton and Salvati and Weidenheimer, and I was a kid, and I read their papers and I looked at them with homage, and they got me amongst them as a family member. And so I kind of got to love the specialty, because I thought I got involved because of my personal ill, but these are nice people, and I really have enjoyed this journey from a kid to a past president, and to today that I'm being interviewed for posterity.
Any final comments, maybe especially for some of the younger people entering into our field?
Well, as I said this before, and I don't mind repeating it, be willing to serve. It's almost repeating what John Kennedy said. Don't ask what the society will do for you. Ask what you can do for the society. You should be willing to participate, to serve in whatever capacity, because no job is too small. If you don't do it, then there is no job. So if you are assigned to some mundane position, take it, because that might be the ticket for bigger things and better things. So I I tell all my residents and the kids that I look after, including my own daughter, who's a colorectal surgeon, participate, do things, send abstracts, come to the society meeting, present at the podium, present at the e-posters, videos.
Herand, thank you for your friendship and
It's been
being
my pleasure.
such a help to so many of our members.
I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed.
Thank you.
Thank you.